Okay, welcome back. So, it said press any key to continue, and of course, I had to press a key to Alt-Tab out. So you missed just him voice acting this. So this is Conrad Voidavir, I guess. Conrad. Um, so basically, we're over here overlooking the crowd on a ship, and what the game does an excellent job of for people like me who don't understand the lore, at any point you can just hover over one of these highlighted words and it tells you. So everybody prays to the Emperor for aid and deliverance. Most would be driven mad with despair if they knew the truth. So, I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, like, so is this like a Japanese reference to when they believed that their emperor was a god? I don't know. I don't know enough about the lore. There's tutorial stuff that pops up. I'll leave this on because I do find it helpful. It's just telling me I'm in dialogue, so I'm going to go ahead and say got it. So we've been invited to this, and so the next thing you got to get used to is that these people are mean. They're mean, they're arrogant, they're very Trump-like, if I can say that. And you sort of have to play the role. Like, if you're a leader, you shouldn't be worrying about certain things and fiddling over things. But anyways, like, this is being a little bit pompous. Do you have a particular reason for disturbing me? This is being polite. This is being obnoxious. And similar. And then this, of course, is being noobish. So, you know, does it really matter at this stage in the game? I don't think so. So why don't I do this one?
Allow me to introduce myself.
Just explaining the highlighted
Conrad
words.
Voidfear, Master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship Rogue Trader Theodora von Valencias. At your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
Okay, so there is a rogue trader. Her name's Theodora. And we have been introduced here. And of course, he is the Master of Whispers, or his spy, I guess, or her spy.
My regards, Marshal. The Adeptus Arbites are famous for their unbending will and keen instinct for uncovering hidden webs of conspiracy and scheming. This is admittedly a priceless skill for someone destined for a path as special as yours.
Okay. That changes your title. So I was the military commander last time, and so my title was different. So that's pretty cool. They just have little touches like that in the game.
I will be frank with you. You may forget your past titles, no matter who gave them to you, or what their origins are. From the moment you and the other candidate were brought aboard this void ship, your fate changed. You now serve Lord Captain Theodora von Valencias, and carry the burden of an heir of this house. Henceforth, you share your dynastic name with Her Ladyship. Bear it with honor.
So this is, the game does a good job of trying to introduce the lore to dummies like me. So a lot of these questions are going to delve into opportunities for them to reveal the lore. But just like he said, we're an heir to the Rogue Trader title. So we're some kind of blood relative of this Lady Valencias, even though from my understanding, we have no idea who she is, so we've never met her before. So me and one other candidate, we're both heirs, so we're both here. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be one of those things where I have to compete against the other guy. This story has interesting twists to it, and it's one of the reasons why I really enjoy the game. But anyways, so yeah, this is... let's get to this one.
Such are the traditions of the Imperium. Lord Captain is the title that was established in the annals of the Lex Imperialis at the time when the first rogue traders entered the Gold Emperor's service. And therefore, it is sacrosanct.
So, this is where they start singing tradition. So, lots of,
To put it plainly, I am the head of the network of spies and informers who serve the interests of House von Valencius. I uncover weak links both among Lady Theodora's retinue and in the ranks of her rivals. I eliminate our vulnerabilities and exploit those of others.
one thing to warn you. The voice acting, of course, of this Conrad guy is awesome. But most of the game is not voice acted like this. It's going to be just a wall of text. So enjoy it while it lasts.
There is. And you will meet him soon enough. So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the rogue trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor. I see that you are shocked. Yes, you understood correctly. Lady Theodora's authority indeed supersedes that of those whom you obeyed before. The Lord Captain's power is so great that she is capable of performing unthinkable feats, such as changing the fate of a servant of the Imperium. Your fate. I would rather not discuss the Lord Captain behind her back. Especially not on board her ship. No one knows better than I that whispers are wont to attract particularly close attention. Suffice it to say that her ladyship is the bearer of the sacred warrant of trade and a woman of immense power and entitlement. However privileged your position may be, I ask that you do not incur her anger by being disrespectful or obtuse. Lady Theodora despises both qualities. But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far. The Lord Captain and Master Edelthrad von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
Okay. So they're giving me instructions on how to move around the map. I have a journal. You just press J to bring that up. This is your quests. The rumors are actually separated from the quests, which is pretty cool. Contracts, when you finally get those, will be displayed there. On the main map, you get WASD and see everything. With the game, it's actually really cool. Hold down the middle mouse button, you can swing it around. Q and E does the same thing. We can always click around, all that stuff. So what you're looking at here is, it's your classic CRPG. These are your skills that you spend action points on, right? This opens up your inventory, or press I. This lets you look at your character, or press C. These are your weapons that you have in your hand, and then the actions that are specific to that weapon. So I'm going to go ahead and press C first. So this should look familiar to you. This is all the stuff we spent building up. You can see we have a parry percentage of 50%, a resolve of 5, determines the amount of momentum gained at the beginning of each turn, and after killing an enemy. Here you can see my dodge chance, and that's of course based on my agility and what armor I'm wearing, things like that. Dodge reduction is how much I reduce the dodge ability of whoever I'm attacking. That's important because if they dodge your attack, they don't get hit at all. So there's ways to reduce their dodge, and that's what that means. And in this big thing over on the right, it's going to be more important later. You're going to get effects that will appear here. This will be things you get as you level up. But as you make choices in the game, you can see you can become, you're either radical or you're Puritan. Right now, of course, we're dead in the middle. This is similar to the D&D version of good versus evil, but it's not quite the same. There's basically 3 ways you can be. You can be dogmatic, which is so the game has a religion to it. You know, the emperor is the god. You know, my god, the emperor. So if you're dogmatic, you're going to serve the emperor in a way. Heretical means you're embracing that other demon dimension, and you're lured to its power. So you want to make deals with those demons, and so heretical is exactly that. It's basically the D&D version of evil. And then iconoclast would be the D&D version of, you know, being a paladin, trying to do right by the people. And so as you get points in these, you're going to advance up, and then you gain these different effects. So those effects will start to appear here. So I need 15 points of iconoclast to go up to the next level, and so forth. And you can, when you make choices in the game, it's going to move you up these different bars, and you can go up all 3 simultaneously. I don't know if by the end of the game you can get to the end. That part I don't know. Like, but you could at certain points in the game make a heretical choice if you want, and then you'll gain heretical points. I don't think it necessarily harms you. It's just you're not moving up the one tree. Because I'm assuming when you get to the top here that these are really good. I never made it far enough for this to be a huge factor. But anyways, that's what that is. It's very important. Okay, sorry, I had to pause there. Okay, so just really nice overview of your character. During combat, I'll have 6 movement points and 4 action points. I honestly don't know what I can do to increase my action points. That's actually a very interesting discussion. I'll have to maybe Google that. Right now I have one ability, Voice of Command. It's I can increase someone's characteristics by 14 for one. It's just 1 round. But the bigger thing about this is that you have a radius of so far that you can command other people. Well, let's say I command somebody who's 3 spaces away from me. Then I can it's almost like a repeater tower. I can then do commands 3 spaces away from him, which could then be 6 spaces away total. So you increase the range of your commands by if you put one of these on somebody. It's not the greatest skill in the world, but it's a good start, and that's what officers do. All this here are the talents that that we have. Let's see. Yeah, these are the talents we have now. So these are the things we got from the beginning of the game. This is, of course, is our weakness, and that's our Hive World ability. So these are things that are passively impacting our game right now, and these are the abilities of our ship, which technically is not our ship. It's currently, Rogue Trader Madame von Valencia's ship, but you get the idea. This is getting into your archetypes. This is where you go when you level up, and you do gain reputation with the different factions. And I do know I interact with this faction early in the game. These other ones, not as much. And then profit factor. So I'll let you read, but basically, there is no money in the game. You don't sell something for 300 coins. What you do is you get these profit factors. So a profit factor of 10 means I have 10 units of value worth of credits or or profit, I guess is if you will. So if I've spent all 10, then my profit is now 0. It's not that I'm losing money. I just don't have additional profit, so I can't obtain additional things through trade. So profit factor is what you're always gunning for, because the more the better. And then of course you're going to spend it to buy things, and if anything, you can view this as money. It's just a very abstract form of money. Then of course your biography, you get, this sort of fills in as you go. Alright, so let's get out of this. And then let's go to our inventory. Another very important screen. This is where we will have our items that we pick up throughout the game. Currently I just have a pistol. You do have to reload it, but there's no such thing as ammunition in this game. You have unlimited ammunition, you just may have to pause from time to time to reload your weapon. And in between each battle it automatically reloads. The game is actually... all the annoying things about weapons that need to be reloaded are mitigated. This game does a great job of that. Alright, so let's go.
I always have a backup plan.
So they're just letting us know we can interact with objects. And this is probably the most annoying thing in the game. You have to hold down the tab button to highlight things. Like this highlighted on its own. But see how I highlight the tab button and then things show up? Like these are... like I wish there was a way to just have this always be on. Because there's no reason not to have this on. I mean, I just want to see everybody highlighted, period. And as in most games, you can try to talk to anybody, but it's pointless. You're usually looking for somebody with a unique name. Like, that guy may not be unique enough. Yeah, that's
I
not...
always keep my options open.
So this is one of those engine seer things I was telling you about. So he's even dressed like a priest. So they worship these machines. It's really bizarre, like I said, but I know it's part of the lore. I just don't understand it. And let's see. So why they would let us manipulate a machine that we're not even responsible for, I don't know, but we just did. So it's pretty cool. Later in the game, you'll have your own engine seer and actually interact with that type of stuff. So here you can see somebody is worshiping this, which is the Lex Imperialis, the Codex of Sacred Laws from the Emperor. So
Is there money
very
to be
bizarre.
made?
And the dogmatic people, she would be an example of a dogmatic person. So that's one of your options in the game, is you can be a person who worships the law. It's really interesting because it's not like you're not worshiping God, you're worshiping a machine or the law. It's a bizarre thing. You know, with my knowledge of certain things, I don't want to get into all of it, but you know, the Old Testament is about the law, which I actually find, like, you can see the roots of where some of this lore comes from. But anyways, this of course is the dude we've been following, and he just wants us to come and open this door.
One of the Fon Valencia's trophy rooms. Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
So these trophy rooms are like what I would call a museum.
What's happening?
Run! The servitors have gone berserk!
Challenges make the spoils that much sweeter.
Okay, when you're ambushed, you don't get to change. Normally you get to select where you want to start the battle within a certain range. If you're ambushed, you're stuck right where you are. which we are, so you have no choice but just start the battle. Then based on initiative and other things, that it was usually based off of agility. The order, as you can see, is here. So Conrad got to go. Then they're giving us a little bit of a tutorial. And now it's our turn. So these are our action points. We have 4 of them. These are our movement points. So you can see if I don't move versus if I do move. This is one of those ones where you gotta be careful. You don't want to be close to this thing. It does massive damage. So I'm just gonna stand right where I am and just shoot. So this costs 1 AP. And you can see it with the number 1. And it typically does 7 to 11 damage. So I'm going to select it. It does a great job of showing what targets are in your line of sight. And if I select this guy, it's showing I'm going to do a roughly 5 to 8 damage. There we go. That was a critical hit with the explanation after it. Then it's just telling me that when I'm done, I can hit end turn. So I'm going to go ahead and motivate somebody. So what I did was I just gave him plus 14 to all of his attributes, which I don't think does much of anything because he's just somebody. But I'm going to go ahead and end my turn. He still missed. Okay, so he did some things to it, and you can always right click on him so you can see like what his armor is. He's at 30%. You can see his traits, and then down here he currently has an injury. He's in frenzy, and this is something that Conrad did to him. He has these exploits, and only if Conrad hits him he gets to do bonus damage. And here you can see that's his weapon, etc., etc. Right? He's got all these things. You can study it to your heart's content, but in our case,
I'll see to it personally.
we're gonna keep trying to influence our guy, and
I'll
then
make it happen.
and of course we miss. They're telling me to put on a better weapon, as if it matters. So I'm gonna go ahead and step behind him, so he can go after Conrad instead of me. So it's just explaining. And there is friendly fire in this game, so you gotta be careful.
I'll see to it personally.
Like if I would have missed, I could have hit him. And he's not considered a party member, so I can't do this on him. And there you go.
What suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan. I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
So my largest gripe is I want a compass. I want to see which way is north. When I start doing this, I get confused sometimes. You can always open the map, but I prefer not to. So even if I spin around, the map doesn't change. It's still just one of those things that I wish I had without having to open the map. Alright, so there's something going wrong. If I hold down the tab key, normally you can loot your enemies or the people who died. That's not the case here. And here you can also see, you can look at a lot of lore stuff going on. You know, like this is a violet alloy, you know, etc., etc. And they want me to go to the end of the corridor, which I do get to go by everything and, you know, look at all these things. I don't think any of this matters for purposes of gameplay. It's all lore at this point. A Lehman Russ battle tank. Interesting. So here you can see the servants are cleaning up the mess. It's not over, by the way. We got a lot more ahead of us.
Rise to the top or get
I
left
usually
in the
spoil you
dust.
guys. I'm trying not to spoil this particular story, because I do think it's most fun to have it happen. Now that I know what's happening, it makes more sense to me. So I just looked over the edge of the balcony. They're showing off. It's interesting, because these graphics are not state-of-the-art. They're actually very similar to, like, Pillars of Eternity. I really love this type of game, though. I love Pillars of Eternity, too, so I'm not surprised, I guess. Now, there is, she's got a name, but obviously she's not interacting with me at this time.
Keep your wits
They have the
about you.
barricades up, so as you can see, like, you're being corralled to a very specific place. So we got the barriers again. Hold down the tab. And if I were them, I would not be letting that servitor anywhere near me. And here we go. We're now here.
That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide. Practically an admission of heresy.
Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation. No worse than my seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Edelthrad? Our second candidate has joined us. Approach and give me your answer. Consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6. A new world on the fringes of the Coronus Expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure?
Okay, so you get this scenario. I don't know if there's a wrong answer. These are lore checks that I succeeded. So they're extremely low lore checks, because we even took a negative to the warp one, remember? So we have a -5 on this one. Then, of course, you have options that you can choose if you don't pass those tests, right? So when wealth is involved, someone's trying to appropriate it. Looks like actions of a criminal syndicate. Using a smokescreen of mysticism. Pretty cool. I would put my interest first, no matter what that means. Purge the whole thing. Like, that's the thing. Like these people just were brutal with some of their suggestions. Like, let's just kill everybody. This is not the option you want to choose. There are ways to confirm what is happening is witchcraft or not. It might cost several Sakers to do, but it will give us the answer. But first verify that if it's indeed the case, engages in Xeno worship. I mean, I don't know if those two are better than this one. I think I chose this last time, but I had no idea what I was doing. Let's try this one.
Reasonable and prudent. However, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and fruitless endeavor.
Apart from Xenos, an untrodden planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you are simply unaware of their existence. Insolent, ignorant upstart. How dare you?
Edelthrad, I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck, instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview.
I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time.
So, why are you here?
So, when I say, was it not you who sent for me, she got very angry with me. So she's an extremely authoritarian person, so you need to treat her with reverence. I picked that up. And then the other aspect is she is heretical. She dabbles in the heretical things. I don't know if there's a way we could actually see her tree and how heretical she is, but she is definitely not dogmatic, or and I don't even think she has an iconoclastic bone in her body. So I'm going to be more authoritative in my response, but I don't know if this is a good idea.
You are direct. I approve. But you will have to wait. There is something I want you to understand first.
Okay, so I guess I did... Last time was not the right choice.
My name is Theodora von Valancius Massimo of Scaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity. And my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic. The warrant of trade, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness, beyond the Imperium, and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign, and bow death and ruin to us all. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find thereon, resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you are one of those with von Valancius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes. Naturally, some have yet to arrive on board, but you have had the pleasure of meeting one of them. Edelthrad may be somewhat disconcerted by the scale of the responsibilities that may potentially fall upon his shoulders. However, I have a good feeling about him as a candidate. Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Kunrad Voitvir served me for many years before he made his mistake. His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name von Valancius, even if he avoids using it publicly, and as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. Voitvir's performance in his current role is satisfactory. Or it used to be, at least. Oh, yes. You would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you over the rest? You came aboard hours before the warp jump, and have not yet distinguished yourself in any way. As things currently stand, I have doubts that you are suitable for the role of rogue trader. I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge.
So I'm going to hover over this. So the navigator, as I said before, is a mutant that allows them to guide the warp-capable void ship through the warp. It's important. It's going to come up soon. And then the warp itself is an alternate dimension of pure energy and madness. It's a mirror to real space. I'm just reading it. Known as the Immaterium, the Aether, the Sea of Souls, or warp space. All those terms are interchangeable. And like I said, as I understand, this is what allows the demons to enter the world. Is by, this connection. So, we're trying to figure out, okay, you brought me on board here. You told me that whatever I used to be, I'm not anymore. So, this is what we're trying to figure out. And as you know, there was already an attack. So you might get the suspicion that things are going to escalate, and yes, they are. And so let's get going here. That's a little. I don't know what the rate is. That groveling, right? Let's do this one.
The Rykad system, the domain of rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers and rivals. Besides me, 2 other rogue traders exist in the Coronis Expanse, and each of them possesses resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valancius in surpassing both of them in affluence and splendor.
Okay, so this is interesting. Obviously, like I told you, I'm not familiar with the lore or anything. She clearly told me this in my first playthrough, and I didn't pay attention. And so this whole Winterscale thing is going to come up, because obviously that's where we're heading. And I kept getting confused on why Winterscale was being mentioned all the time. And that actually makes a lot of things make sense. So I'm sort of glad I'm doing this again.
I set the course for Rykad on the demand for a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet apprise you of the purpose for this voyage, but now is not the time.
So this is for people who don't understand the lore, and for her being such a stern person, it's out of place to ask her this question, but she will answer it.
Sometimes I forget that people without direct access to a ship's bridge may not know the first thing about how a void ship travels between the stars. Vessels such as this one are capable of leaving real space and traversing into the warp, an otherworldly dimension of cruel and unthinkable forces. By entering it under the protection of the Gellerfield, we shorten the route to our destination, crossing distances that would require hundreds of years in a matter of weeks instead, sometimes in days or even hours. That is how humanity spread across the galaxy. That is how we were able to build the Imperium, which spans millions of stars.
So she did a great job of explaining, like, what the heck does all this mean? And like I keep saying, that Immaterium or the Aether, she said it's a otherworldly dimension of cruel and that's the demons. So when you always see you're fighting this weird looking creatures, it's got a lot of what is that, the eldritch horror. It's got a lot of eldritch horror elements to it. So a lot of things I pick up on. There's like, Old Testament references, there's eldritch horror references, there's a lot of things that I think the lore sort of pulls from, and it's interesting. I really love this game and what they're doing. I personally wish this was just a D&D universe and be done with it, even though all the D&D gods don't interest me. Just to be clear, the different gods in the D&D universe interest me just as little as this. And I still thoroughly love playing D&D games. So I can appreciate the game and at the same time not really give two bags of rocks about the lore. So that's how I feel about this, but it is nice to at least understand the basics because it does influence your decision making here.
Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Ethelthrad. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide. Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance. Or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Gellerfield. Or perhaps there is something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all.
Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by uneducated riffraff.
Enough, Abelard. Such hearsay amuses me. Idira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. This ship is ancient. It has enough hidden nooks, malfunctioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folks speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live.
Some responses, even though it's listed as an option, don't always choose them all. Like, some of them are blatantly bad. She does not want somebody who grovels. So don't do this one.
In that case, I shall head to... Disturbances reported on the adjacent decks. Seneschal, if the need arises, protect the new blood. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated.
I'll make an example out of you.
So they do throw you in as far as the combats here. And remember, I'm playing at a higher difficulty level than the first time around. So I gotta be careful because I have some bad habits because I'm trying to rush the battle along. We're ambushed yet again. So let's go ahead and start. We have Theodora, of course, is part of our
My place is at
party.
the fore.
She's got Abelard here, who's going up and slicing and dicing.
One fewer target. Stay vigilant. The glory of the Imperium. Out of my way.
Our role in this is just to not die. Everybody's gonna do all the killing. They're advising that we use cover, so this is just like XCOM. We can go stand behind something. This skull, though, means that this could blow up and damage us. So that skull, be careful. See how that's a pure shield? Is there... Actually, the skull means it's a full shield. I could be totally wrong. Let's go with that. My apologies. I thought the skull meant that it could blow up. No, the skull means it's a full... Yeah, see, look, I'm still learning. Alright, we got enemies to our right, we got enemies to our left. If I go here, I have protection against both. Then here you can see there's 3 of these that I can hit. I gotta be careful though, because I could hit Theodora. It's the one thing I'm concerned about. Well, oh, that's right, I don't have a shotgun yet, so...
I'm ready for whatever comes.
There we go, we killed one. And I cannot boost anybody.
Death to non-believers.
My ears are ringing.
Such is the will of...
Pain and duty go hand in hand. Tried and tested tactics are the best ones.
I took care of this one. Weapon at the ready. Up to the heretics.
Okay, so it's saying I got a positive effect from an ally. Those positive effects show up here. So we got the kill them one. We get plus 50 to our ballistic skill, which means that I shouldn't miss.
It's as good as done.
Which I missed anyways. Like I said, just stay alive. These guys are doing all the work.
A tactically sound approach.
Reduced to dust.
That should be it.
Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single whoreson survive. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck, huh? Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel. Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Arch-Militant requires aid. And be quick about it.
Okay, so they want us to find the Arch-Militant. And again, usually you could loot people, but that's not quite the case, because we're sort of in a prologue here. So, again, hold down the tab, you can click on various things. I think the Arch-Militant went this way. And if you look at the map, you can actually have him move. If you right-click, see, so I just right-clicked. So you can see him moving along the map. And now, of course, I don't know where I am.
Miscalculations are for
there I am.
commoners. I don't make mistakes. I make profitable learning experiences. Always keep your eye on the prize.
So a lot of what's happening, because it's a prologue, you're not engaging in any of this combat. You're just experiencing things going on. So Master at Arms is in trouble. So I think she becomes the new Master of Arms, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
Thank Providence you are alive and well.
Always on time, eh, Coonrad? The moment we finish chasing the riffraff around the deck, you show up. Always just after the fighting's done. You could set your chrono by it.
That observation is more keen than you think. And I might have given away a lot, but...
Mort, hold yourself together.
What, did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We're all done here. I'll report right away.
Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent. The Vox Master is not responding. Armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my arch-militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report!
I have not yet received word from the Engineerium regarding any Gellerfield failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago, and now they have ceased altogether. Whatever the cause may be, the consequences are spreading fast. I am receiving scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only Voxcasts from the lower bays are one-way heretical gibberish. That the madmen have already reached the officer's deck suggests that this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny.
First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure. And I have the means to do both things at once. Edelthrad, where is he? I must know if he is unharmed. A psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by the warp could pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons.
I tried to locate him, but the last thing known about his movements is that he arrived on Transitional Deck 18.
Blast it! Master of Whispers, find Edelthrad immediately. Seneschal, locate Tlas and the Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my side. Arch-militant, with me. I must go to my study. And it appears we might encounter heretics along the way.
If I may, Lord Captain. Transitional Deck 18 is at the heart of the disturbance. And if our goal is to bring Edelthrad back, I could use some support. After all, I'm not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the House as the esteemed Arch-Militant, and taking into consideration Edelthrad's psychic powers.
Then it's settled. Find Edelthrad and bring him here. In whatever state you find him. This elevator leads to restricted compartments such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me down. I require you both. Do you understand? Then move out! Mort, come.
So we are the lucky person to go with him to look for this person.
Are you ready to head to 18? It is a long walk, and you do not even have proper gear.
He's right about that. The other aspect of this is that, like at this point I was confused. Because we're just running all over the map, and I'm thinking like, do I have to memorize this? And it's just one of those things you're going to experience the whole game. The only good news is that each map seems to be small. So, you know, they're manageable maps, and you know, and then you're either advancing to the next level or something, some kind of transition occurs.
Of course you will. Lady Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs. But that is no longer relevant.
No, that's a deep statement, because remember, he is one of her potential heirs. So then, yep. So here's the one thing I'll tell you, now that some of the cat is out of the bag, which I don't think most of you are surprised from. He is not the mastermind. He's a pawn himself.
Careful, careful. Be
So
gentle with
there's
our
something going on,
guest.
of course.
He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warrant Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Oh, you are back with us, I see. Delightful.
So this guy is not the... He's involved, but he's being duped as well. Let's just leave it at that.
How perceptive of you.
Yeah,
I'll
how
help
perceptive.
you with the next insight. I need you here for your blood. You have the option to share it voluntarily, or I will squeeze it out of you myself. We are in the anteroom of the Warrant Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There, beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred Warrant of Trade. Only one obstacle remains on my path to obtaining it. The gates to the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel, an ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel. On the contrary, the Warp's blessing has raised me too much above your kind, fond Valencius. The Sentinel refused to submit to me. But you can help. After all, isn't that what family is for? Wretched. What do you know about wretchedness? Theodora's cur. Are you hoping to buy a grain of her indulgence with your blind loyalty? Oh, I know this delusion. But thank the gods it no longer has power over me. Humanity can rot. I no longer serve mortal kind.
So he's embraced heresy. That's what that means.
Once my work is done, I'll make that pompous wench Von Valancius watch as I sacrifice her entire dynasty and commit their fate to the gods. And you will be the instrument by which I will accomplish this righteous act.
Okay, so this, I think my understanding is this is the warp, or some kind of heretical thing trying to control my mind. And you can see it's telling me to go to the gate, go to the gate. So I'm gonna go to the gate. I could try to fight it, but let's go to the gate.
There's a good boy. Then go to the Sentinel at the gates of the Warrant Chamber and fulfill your destiny. I had hoped to feed Edelthrad to the machine. He is the one who caught Theodora's eye, after after all. But since procuring him has proved difficult, you will have to do.
So it's basically like a bank vault, and the relic that makes her a rogue trader is in here. And I can only assume that he wants the relic for himself. Like, this is sort of like a grand heist. He's trying to rob this from her. And yeah, he wants to kill her whole line, which means that he would be killing us. It's not fully explained because it's part of the bigger plot of the main plot of the entire game. But he is definitely a part of it. So let's get going here. So we're gonna go ahead and use, it's 100% success. So let's do it. Excuse me. Gain some nice experience. And just it's almost like a half human, half it's all robot, but it's a robot that looks like a human that's enmeshed in a machine. It's a bizarre, like I said, the lore is bizarre. But anyways. So it's asking us to put our hand inside of its mouth because it needs our blood to verify.
Did you forget something? I suggest you hurry.
High levels of caustic humus. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
So it's asking me, it's detecting that I'm stressed out and I'm under anxiety. It's asking me if I require assistance.
Genetic code identified. Child of House von Valancius. Do you require assistance?
So, this entity that was in my head is not my friend. It was telling me to go to this door and open the door, right? But I just told the Sentinel that they're traitors.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
There is still another way.
Okay, so we just killed everybody. It let me in. I do have an injury.
I always have a backup plan.
And then right there it is. The warrant of trade.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
So, the ship itself, or at least this sanctuary, has recognized that I am one of the bloodline of the rogue trader, and so it's protecting me from whatever this attack is. And I don't fully understand everything going on, but that thing where I was hearing that voice that was compelling me to do something, that is elements of the warp. So those are demonic forces that were telling me. So if I had embraced it, that would have made me go towards a heretical path. I'm guessing. I'm saying that as a guess more than a statement, but that's my understanding, is that that particular voice was not a helpful voice. It was a demonic voice, because whatever this game is that everybody's doing, and the reason why what's his face, Conrad wanted me to go in to here, you know, it was all part of that grander purpose, a demonic pact, if you will.
Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel standing by. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel, designed as a personal escort of the child of the house and a means of communicating with the rogue trader's subjects. Mobile unit standing by. Voxcast frequencies disrupted. Initiating setup. Establishing connection.
Voxmaster, restore communication with the navigator sanctum. I'm trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces and head to the upper decks at once. I repeat, regroup all available forces and head...
Communication protocols breached. Signal latency assessment unavailable. Unable to establish two-way connection. Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations. Middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated. The mobile unit will start executing the received order immediately after the safety of the warrant is secured.
This is just telling you to check your journal. So I am the warrant. So as soon as I can get out of here, what they're trying to say is they're going to seal this chamber, which makes sense. And I don't think there's anything to get here. Like, I never explored. I think last time I just exited. Yeah, like I expected, there's nothing here. We just gotta leave.
Is there money to be made?
Oops, where am I going? You gotta, like, sometimes the pop-up happens and you have to move the cursor. Why is this so confusing? I thought for sure we went out the door.
Let us not
elevator.
dawdle.
Okay. Why am I... Look here. What does the journal tell me to do? Oh, I have to click seal the warrant chamber.
Run, fools, or fall! Master, whatever are you doing in the Warren Chamber? How did you... Throne preserve me, what is the meaning of this? What? Oh, holy God, Emperor. I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. And, Master, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora. Saints' blood! And it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster. You're in a bad way. I can treat your wounds. I have a Medicaid kit with me. And for the love of the throne, now is not a good time to be walking around the decks without means of self-defense. Here.
Okay, so it's telling you how to treat your injuries. I do have one from when he clubbed me on the head, telling me how to equip. So basically we have a sword and we have a pistol, and as long as they're one-handed you can equip both. So but during battle you could switch, right? You could have like a long-range weapon here, and then the game does not require you to just be like, in fact, I think the Arch Militant, which is one of those level 16 archetypes, that one rewards you for alternating back and forth between melee and range. But we're going to go ahead and switch to this guy and give him some of the healing, because he has the healing abilities. He's using a chainsword, which is awesome. And then all we have to do is, he's now... excuse me. He's now a part of our party.
What advice do you seek?
Just click him. And just like any game...
Let's patch you up. That is a noticeable improvement. Now you're prepared for the trials ahead.
So he
the
healed
lower
our
decks
wound.
are teeming with heretics, instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the scoundrels and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse, although strike teams have already been dispatched there. All communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on. But that is not the worst of it all. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the warp and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive. You sent me a Vox message. Specifically, a Voxcast on the officer's frequency, which I had the good fortune to receive. You mean to say you did no such thing? Warren Sentinel? The Lord Captain barely ever ventures down to the chamber, and I was at her side only once or twice when she did. And I did not see anything of the sort. The Warren Chamber is an ancient and rather sacred mechanism that the ship's tech priests treat with the utmost reverence. I assume that whatever it is that you did, you must have activated certain processes and caused the Sentinel to awaken. But then, why did none of it happen when Lady Theodora did the same?
Okay, so this is getting into a little bit of lore, but it's also progressing the story. Remember, we're still in the warp. So we're in this demon domain, and we need to get back into real space or real time, however they prefer to it. And we're sort of stuck because the navigator and whatever the other person was helmsman couldn't speak to each other, and it's all because of this revolt and everything that's going on.
I am no helmsman, or God Emperor preserve me navigator. However, I've spent my entire life aboard void ships equipped with warp drives, and I know that portents such as these do not bode well. It could be that the Geller field has faltered. Perhaps the navigator was struck down by warp corruption and is fighting for the last shreds of his humanity as we speak. If we get thrown off course, we will be forever lost in the war. Naturally, we would likely not have long to live in that scenario. But I will not resign myself to such an outcome just yet. Lady Theodorus. Which one? The last one I received was about the Navigator's Sanctum, and that was a good while ago. In any case, let us hope that the Lord Captain is well, and safely in charge of the ship's defense. In the meantime, during warp transit, the Sanctum is closed to all who are not involved in traversing the Empyrean. And for good reason. For the Navigator to open their third eye and perceive the way, the Sanctum must be bathed in the energies of the Immaterium. Only a Navigator can withstand such an ordeal. For the rest of us, any contact with the warp is fraught with perils such as loss of sanity, spontaneous mutations, and death. Come.
To arms, loyal sons and daughters of the God Emperor! Fight the heresy and corruption that threatens to consume our home, and with all your might, destroy those who have dared!
The Lord Captain is calling her crew to battle, which means the Vox networks are set up for broadcast transmission, not message exchange. Splendid. While the rogue trader inspires proper resolve to fight in her subjects, you and I shall...
To arms!
For a secret chamber, everybody seems to be finding it. Alright, so now we're not ambushed, so here you can see I can put Abelard right up into the thick of it. And then myself, of course, there's nowhere to hide. I'm just going to put myself right in the middle. Let's go ahead and start the battle. So just explain to me that he's good. So he has two primary skills. This is because he was Navy origin. He gets to... the one thing that's annoying about the game is if you don't move now, if you start using skills, you sort of lose your movement points. And it depends on the skill, of course, but this particular one, Charge, you lose all your movement points after you do it. So, in fact, you can even see it says movement points and it has like a slash through it. So that's letting you know you're going to lose your movement points if you do that. Whereas this one does not. So what you want to do then is, for example, I'm going to go here, and then this is a regular strike, and then this is a cleave, which hits multiple enemies. And I'm going to cleave the corner here, which will hit both of these guys.
I've seen worse battles than this in my time.
And they're both dead. And then I'm going to go ahead and charge, and I can pick like an angle I want to go. And you want to actually attack somebody. So we'll go ahead and attack this guy. And he parried it. Which is something that can happen. And so he basically blocked us. And then I can do this, which basically is going to give him extra deflection. So when all these guys try to attack him, he'll have the best chance of avoiding damage. And they're just explaining abilities. So we're going to go ahead and...
Who if not me?
Motivate him, which will give him all those extra skill points. And we can do a sword, but we're going to go ahead and do a pistol burst. Now it's showing that I might be able to hit both of them if I do this. So, because I'm going to do a burst and it's going to basically, you know, shoot multiple times, and I'm going to try to hit both of these guys. And there, you can see I missed wildly and hit this guy. But that's okay. We still hit somebody.
I serve the ruinous
Oh,
powers.
they're coming for us. Not good, not good.
I've suffered worse.
I am your doom.
So, he just hit his own guy. What's that little eyeball above him? Is it because he's blind? What is that eyeball? He has an injury. That was us. We injured him. That might mean he's actually trying to hide. Actually. And we can't see him. Well, anyways, remember, we do our movement first. We're next to somebody, though. So I'm going to go ahead and
Victory
slash this
is
guy.
ours to care of this one.
Then we need to charge. We could go down and charge here, but I want to finish
At
him
your
up.
beck and call. Reduced to dust.
And we got him. Alright, so that's good, but we got these two guys to worry about.
Another enemy down.
And we got both of them because I shot through the one guy. Pretty cool. I was not in, I mean, it was sort of what I was trying to do. It's a low probability thing. Then we leveled up. So here I can loot everybody. Now this is where it gets interesting. There's cargo for the ship, which it's used for when you trade with factions. So remember, there's no money in this game. So I'm either taking these swords for our party inventory, so we're going to be carrying it around, or I'm going to be putting them in for cargo. And you can see at the very bottom here, if you pay attention to the bottom, it says 5% of melee weaponry cargo. So here's how this works, and it took me a while to figure all this out. You're benefiting from me playing Act 1. I'm going to put it in cargo, which means it's junk. And I would... So in a normal D&D game, I would go to a vendor and sell it and get whatever money I can. The way it works here is it's going to become 5% of a weaponry cargo box. So we're going to run into factions who... they want different things. So one particular faction may highly value weaponry, or even a faction that doesn't value weaponry. They're going to have different value numbers. So if we want to sell them a crate of weapons, we need to have a crate of weapons, of course, in our inventory. So what this is saying is I'm going to have 10% of a crate by putting both of these swords in the cargo. So I won't have a full crate yet, but I'll be 10% of the way towards one. That's what this is. And so these are unremarkable swords. And so what I'm going to do is just hit this button to move both of these over to cargo, and then say collect all. And then if I hit the inventory button, there's a way to look at the cargo. Give me a second. I always have to figure this out. Right here, cargo management. So this is our ship, and you can see the melee weaponry is 10% towards a cargo. So, and this is just two ways to look at the thing. So this is our cargo manifest of what we have available for trade. And then over here is the cargo list, which is specific item by item. And here you can see that a weapon crate has 2 swords in it so far that are consisting of 10% of what would make a full crate. And you could do some sorting. Right now, obviously, it's not that exciting, but just helping you to understand what I was choosing to do. The other cool thing about this game is no matter how many people you have in your entourage, because you can have 6 in a party at any time, but you can always, like, you're going to have 7 people, 8 people, 9 people, 10 people, right? And you're only taking 6 at a time. When you level up, everybody levels up, whether they're with you or not. And I do appreciate that, because it is always annoying to Like, it makes it easier to swap party members in and out of your party, because they're always at full level. The only thing you have to worry about is their equipment, and you know, you do have to keep that up to date. And maybe, like, even if someone's not in your party, if one of those swords, for example, was something that somebody needed, you might want to save that. And you can always grab this weapon and move it to... I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, so we just moved it to our inventory. But we're going to put it back in the cargo. So you can always take stuff out of the cargo. So don't think it's permanent. When you level up, it goes to this screen, like I said, and we're going to click on this button. And I know it's sort of confusing at first, but all it's saying is this is what we get, is we get to do this. So we're going to get to upgrade a skill and nothing more. That's all that happens at this level up. And then at this one, we're going to get a new skill called Bring It Down, or a talent. And then here we're going to get to pick things, etc., etc. So we're going to actually get to pick 2 things at each of these level ups. So right now I'm choosing between Persuasion and Commerce. And to be quite honest, I need both. Which one do I need more than the other? It's hard to say. But I will tell you that once you take an upgrade later on, when you get a similar upgrade, like here, you'll get to take the other one. So right now I don't need Commerce, I need Persuasion. I'll grab the Commerce one when we get to here. And see, here I get to grab it again, and there I get to grab it again. Like, you can click on any of these to see what's available to you. And like, look at this list. I'm going to scroll down for you. Look at all those things you have to study and figure out what they mean. The game's overwhelming, folks. It really is. They are sorted. Like, this stuff is all related to... like, this is related to us being an arbiter, right here. And then this down here, that's more... Actually, this is arbiter stuff as well. This is related us to be from a hive world. That's the difference. This is hive world stuff. This is arbiter stuff. And then this is just basic common things that any character can choose, all the way to the bottom. So, and then you can sort it too. Like, that's warp features, origin talents, right? So that's the hive world and arbiter. This is archetype. So right now, as an officer, I can get shield mastery. That's the only thing that's showing up there. This is universal features. Things that are supporting other characters. Defense features, attack features. I can mark things as favorite, and then this is what the game recommends. Now remember, I'm way out here in the future. We're only doing this one right now. I'm just showing you that you can actually peek ahead and see what your choices are coming up. You can even plan out your build if you want. But right now we're grabbing this, and I'm going to go grab Persuasion. So we're going to get 10 more points of Persuasion, and I believe that 60 is where we're going to be after we choose this upgrade. And here's a really cool factor. When you're trying to decide, okay, what am I upgrading? It's showing what the other party members have. So if only one person in your party needs commerce, it'll show you that Abelard's commerce is at 80. So you don't need another person with high commerce. This is particularly helpful when you're deciding whether to upgrade your logic or your tech or your demolitions, which lets you disarm traps. But right now we're doing Persuasion, and I know for a fact that I have better Persuasion than Abelard. So yes, it's going to be up to 60. And here you can see we are at 60, and it shows a little green +5 because somewhere along the way we took a +5 bonus because we have Illustrious Glory. And it shows our -5 because that's our Grim Portents. And so yeah, we're at 60 now. And then everything here adjusts as needed. I don't think Persuasion changed any of these, but just trying to be thorough and helping you to understand what you see in here. And then he gets a bonus as well. So we could do Athletics, which would get him to 50, or Carouse, which gives him... remember, Carouse is the a toughness thing that lets him resist poison and other things. We're going to go with athletics. You need someone in your party with good athletics, and he's our guy. All right, that's it. It's a real easy level up for us. So now it's showing us a zone map. The zones on the ship there'll be more of them that will appear as we progress further into the game. And this is just a way to move between different areas. So we're trying to go to the Navigator Sanctum now.
I hear it here on the threshold of the blinded guide. Doom comes from the heavens.
Master, watch your head. Idira, would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Sorry, old man. Their voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abela, how they sing.
This is Idira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valancius. Idira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate. To die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn. And in the roaring blaze, I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
So the entity that's in my consciousness is hiding from the seer right now.
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud. And you are von Valancius, one of Lady Theodora's heirs. Well then, we finally meet.
Officer's frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather on the officer's deck at once. I repeat, gather on the officer's deck at once and prepare to launch a counterattack.
That's Edelthrat. Oh, Emperor's Providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelthrat's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the Navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the enginarium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master Cog, and the silence that followed.
What? You don't mean the Enginseer Prime is...
Said, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the Navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the Navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks. Oh no. No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity. But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
So the one thing that's weird about this is she has like an African accent, but later in the game she doesn't. And I don't know if they switched voice acting or if it was supposed to mean we're in the warp and we're not in the warp. You know, she's being influenced by the warp and she's not. I don't know. I never figured that out. She's very chatty here, but this is all prologue stuff. I assure you, when the prologue ends, all this voice acting goes away. Alright, so now we got another member in the party. And if you'll notice,
Whispers crave entertainment.
she's heretical, or has several points in heretical, and so it says that I can expand. Oh, here we go. So we have a 20% chance to save a combat stimulant or a medikit after using it. And then the thing is like, so she gives these bonuses, but everyone in the Rogue Trader party gives a 25% chance to regain an action point after killing an enemy. So it's pretty cool. Her archetype, by the way, is operative, and his is warrior. Now you might be asking, well, how come we didn't get to level her up? That is because until you get them, they have some skills that are already picked for you, and it's a little unfortunate, but in this case, she has analyze enemies, and she chose A, which means I think she chose awareness. And so, yeah, you can see archetypes advancement. The third bullet there, it says archetypes advancement. That's what this is. This is the archetype advancement. She chose awareness. So she has 60 awareness. It makes her, she's excellent at spotting all the hidden objects and traps. So she's a really nice one to keep in your party. And you need an operative anyways if you want to have one of the different classes. And she's a psyker, which gives her the mage-like abilities. She's pretty cool. I do like her. She can be one of the heaviest damage dealers. It depends on the situation. If it's a high armor enemy, she's better at hitting the high armor ones, because her attacks don't, armor doesn't defend against her types of attacks. But the people with the swords do better than her in other situations. So it depends. But you know, it's a nice blend. We and there's the navigator. Navigator's under some kind of attack.
Say no more.
Like, oh, you gotta hit the backspace key. Then all three of us can move in. And how these people got in here, I have no idea.
Calculated.
Your emperor won't save you.
So here, I'm gonna get myself behind a half strength shield so I get some cover. I'm gonna get her behind some full cover. And then Abelard doesn't care about cover. We're gonna go to him right up front, and let's go. You could use the hologram. Yeah. Most of this is self-explanatory. The game does a great job of trying to explain things. Well, sometimes you're sitting there like, I don't understand how this works. But when it finally does explain it to you, it does a great job. How about that? Okay, so we could go up and sword them. I'm gonna give him the bonus attributes. And then we're gonna go ahead and do this, and we're gonna do the same thing where I'm gonna try to shoot through him.
It's as good as your end was inevitable.
And it worked. Well done. We hit both times. That's it. We're done. There's nothing more to do. We have one action point left, but you can only use your weapon once.
Let's make it quick. Brace yourself, Abelard.
Temporary setback.
Okay, so she has a staff. You have to be really careful. This chains, and it'll hit allies as well. So if I chain this, it'll hit this one, then hit Abelard. But what I've learned is analyze enemies here. At the start of every turn, well, here. So I can target one enemy within line of sight. They immediately gain 2 exploits. And we're going to have to talk about what exploits are, but if we go into the... oh, I bet it's under her talents. As an operative... Give me a second. So she has the divination. Remember I was telling you... And the telepathy. So she has 2 of those 5 or 6 starting things. Well, here, let's go into this. She gets this ability right here. And I know this looks the same, but it's not. At the start of each turn, this happens automatically. The operative inflicts 1 stack of exploit effect on all enemies in her line of sight. Then, at some point in the game, if she ever hits them, she will deal 5 times her perception bonus damage. The damage is also increased by 10% for each exploit on the target. And the attack removes all exploits. So, 5 times the perception, plus an extra 10% for every additional exploit that's in there. So, right now, everybody she sees has one. And if you scroll down, you can see they have an exploit. And it shows that they have 1 out of 100 possible. You can sort of see it when you hover over them. See the little blue symbol above their head? And he even has one as well. So first thing we do is we're going to give an exploit. This gives 2 exploits to 1 individual. It costs an action point. So we're going to go ahead and give 2 to this one. So now this guy has 3 exploits out of 100. Right here. And then what I can do is I can walk up and hit with the staff, which will do 4 to 8 damage, plus the exploits will add more. I can do the lightning bolt thing, which will kill both of these guys probably, but also injure Abelard. Or I can do this one, the psychic shriek. It takes 2 action points. And I'm going to go ahead and do that.
What an unfortunate turn of fate.
And down he goes. Then I have forewarning. So this is one of her talents. Increases the dodge and parry by 10% until the end of combat. And the important thing is end of combat, not just 1 round. It's really powerful. So I'm going to give that to Abelard. And then end the turn. And now you can see Abelard has the skill that I gave him, the voice of command, and a forewarning. So we're going to go ahead and go up to this guy, and then we're going to attack.
Follow my lead.
Wasn't quite enough to kill him. Then we're going to go ahead and charge.
I will do my duty. 1 fewer target.
Now, by doing that charge, I gave him an attack of opportunity. So he got a free swing on me. It's just, he didn't get to hit me. I'm going to use the Navy ability as well. That's a once for combat, but there's only 1 guy left, so no point in waiting. This means he's out of my visual range. So I'm going to move up to here, and you can see there's this little red line. And then I can shoot him.
Don't let your guard down.
Down he goes. Just like that, we got him. Pretty simple.
I believe Master Vespider still lives. Well, the servants are dead, but the chamber, thank the Emperor, is still sealed from the warp. Well, we have a chance of leaving this place alive.
Wounded, exhausted, fighting back the endless horrors of the warp that are forcing their way into his head. Pick one.
Your time is short. Fall to your knees, mortals, and behold the final dawn.
Ah! It came from beyond! His body is not his!
Ah, that's what's happening. So a warp entity's invading our mind.
Its march thunders under the burden of hopes. Unseal your hearts, and I will flood your souls with millions of words and meanings, each one a portent of salvation within me. Run. Flee from this place while I still have the strength. I can contain the intrusion, but not for long. We must begin the translation. Leave the warp. But it can't be done without the Master Helmsman's help.
Not like this would be stupid. We don't want to kill the navigator.
The urge. Kneel before the ascent of a new champion. When the rite is complete, this shell will burst, and thousands of Moors will accept the sacrifice offered to the edge of daybreak by the bringer of twilight.
A rite. A sacrifice offered. Oh. My heart tells me that Kunrad was not deterred by his defeat in the warrant chamber.
What? Kunrad betrayed Lady Theodora? Oh, but how is that? How? He was as loyal as a dog. And I didn't hear a thing, I swear.
The footfalls of the bringer of twilight are veiled by the will of his masters. Tear out your eyes. See who is to become the champion's servant, for you need them no longer.
The ship can only begin the translation with the assistance of the Master Helmsman, if he is still alive. It is worth a try. We must get to the bridge, but we will need support. Our only option is to fight our way to the officer's deck and join forces with Edelthrad and his people. I believe we will also find Lady Theodora there. She must have heard the call to arms that the servo skull relayed to us earlier.
Vespidas, good luck. And thank you.
Alright, so he's being invaded by these demonic forces that call themselves the... I don't even remember what they call themselves. I already forgot. Don't forget to loot your stuff. So we got a scrappy autogun and an axe. And you can see the axe isn't better than my sword, but it does leave bleeding. He's got a chainsword. So the axe would leave bleeding. I don't know what's better, to be quite honest. The scrappy autogun, though, is a two-handed weapon, and it's a solid projectile weapon. You see that listed on the right top side, top right corner. There's different types of weapons, and you could give people advantages with certain types, like with flamethrowers or solid projectiles or laser. This is the part where the game gets really overwhelming, because I don't know, like, You know, do I specialize in this or do I specialize in that? I have no idea. But for now, I think what I want to do is... The axe doesn't seem like anything special. But we will keep the scrappy autogun for now. And then if you'll notice, there's like a little yellow cross, or a plus looking symbol right next to the word autogun. What that's trying to tell you is that it's a better weapon than what you currently have. So I'm going to go ahead and take the scrappy autogun. And I could... It's a two-handed weapon now, mind you, so I put it in this other slot. I still don't... Like, I'm looking for a shotgun, because that seems to be what my class is... What I'm trying to specialize in, but it's good enough for government work. With him, I don't want to shoot. And then with her, she does have a gun. It's a crappy laser pistol. We want to use this as much as possible, and if we're not using this, we're going to use her voice attack, which is what we used in our last battle. And yeah, here they're explaining alternate weapons. We just went through that. And then, mind you, they do loot everything within a radius, but then there's stuff over here on the left side.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Same deal. I'm going to move those over this time. I don't need two copies of the same weapon. And just to reinforce what we talked about before, we're now at 20% for melee and 5% for range. So this goes into a different cargo category. So we're up to 20% now and 5% towards filling up the cargo box. Let's just go see what it says. Yeah, so we got this as well. Now this was something where I was all hung up on. Like, they show you what she's equipped with. But you can see the words Idira over here. So she basically has this exact staff already equipped. So we're going to go ahead and just send that to cargo. And you're going to send 90% of your stuff to cargo, folks. That's open. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, I guess. So we're going to head to the officer's deck. And in the prologue, you're only given one choice. Later on, you'll be given many choices.
Ship's as good as ours. It's all over for you.
I shall pity not your enemies. I shall heed not their pleas.
Somebody shoot these.
I shall betray not your tenets, nor stray one step from them. Take not your gaze from me. Leave me not without your grace.
I told you he would protect us.
My God, my light, my Emperor.
So, in case you weren't wondering, or were wondering, she is dogmatic. But Argenta is awesome. Totally love having her in the party.
Sister Argenta! Sister Argenta, it is a relief to see you. We require all the forces we can muster.
Your face, it is unfamiliar. Who are you? The hour is dark and daunting. A ship abounds with corruption. The faces of friends are twisted by sneers of heresy. The eyes of comrades ignite with the archenemy's hunger. I will do what I must to halt the advance of the dark forces. But in these dire moments, little can be trusted. So I must know, why are you here?
So the archenemy is their reference to the demons. I keep calling them demons. I guess the technical term is archenemy. It's these forces in this alternative universe.
Sister, I beg of you. Now is not the time for interrogations. The ship is under attack by heretics. We've been betrayed by our esteemed Master of Whispers. Edelthrad the Heir is waiting for our aid, and Lord Captain Theodora is expecting a report on our success. We are here to deal with the situation, so I suggest we all do just that.
If you speak truthfully, the Emperor will not forsake you. If you are lying, you will not escape his retribution. I cannot wait to rain righteous fire down upon each and every heretic.
Sister Argenta is a guest of the Lord Captain. And that story deserves its own time and conversation. Under more appropriate circumstances.
Enough idle chatter. I am where I must be, and that will suffice.
Overseer of Middle Deck AL-84, my lord. We were rounding up everyone we could find in the attack compartments when we ran into an ambush. Just about every enforcer fell. These are the survivors. Massacre, my lord. And heretics are not just killing the crew. Some kind of blight is sweeping through the decks, filling the air. I saw people going mad the moment they breathed it in, screaming about seeing their dead comrades, tearing out their eyes. I implore you, my lord, be on your guard.
Through this door, I shall join you, for it is my duty to the God Emperor to destroy this heresy.
We will follow. For now, we will hold off any heretics who might try to crawl in through the cracks to join the main assault. And we'll take a look at the generators while we're at it. Those villains made a mess of the cables. Oh, I wish we had a Tectomat with us.
Good to hear it. Sister.
Ready, mate.
Okay. So now we got another party member. Actually, let's look at her inventory first. So here you can see she has the Unfading Valor two-handed weapon. It's a bolt weapon. And she also has an auto pistol. Honestly, I don't know why she needs both to be clear, but for now, this is what she has. She is, as you can tell, she's dogmatic. So she has Grim Determination. We gain a 10% to survive with one wound instead of being killed. Absolution. All critical hits give burning in the first round. All fire damage is increased by 1. And any momentum that's spent is reduced by 20%. So we don't have to spend it all when we spend it. So these are really cool to have. So she's moving up that tree. She's moving up that tree, and then as you guessed it, he's moving up this one. So we basically have one person of all three of these doctrines. I don't know what the right term is. So there's that. And then of course we're going to be moving up as well. So he has the Above the Thundering Guns. So temporary wounds means temporary hit points. Always remember that. It's not the other way around. And then this one here. Rogue Trader and allies gain +2 additional movement points. That's always nice to have. And that explains why I always had less movement points after the first round. Okay. Yeah, see, there's certain things I don't pay attention to. And then, if I were to get this, it's similar skills. I don't know if they stack, if they're cumulative. I don't know. You have 6 people in your party, so I'm assuming they have to stack. Otherwise, why do you only have 3 things? Okay, so what she has is oh, let's move to her. She has Run and Gun, and her archetype, as you guessed, is a soldier. So she is basically our marksman type person, and her big skill is she can run and gun, so we can shoot with her, and then do run and gun and shoot again. So she'll be able to get 2 attacks in per turn. Her ballistic skill is very decent, and we're going to try to get that to be even better. her agility is really good, which is sort of odd, but it is, and that's fine. And everything else, as you can see, she has really high demolition, so she can pick traps, and that is a product of the high agility. So I really like Argenta. I think that if you were to design your own character, you could do a better job. Because, to be honest, I would give her perception and skip the agility and make her more ballistic skill. That should be much higher than 45 if you choose the right background. But it is what it is. I think if you go into the forums, she's like everybody's favorite in terms of damage dealing. And I'll be honest, I actually think the other ones can do more damage. But she is a very consistent and reliable. And sometimes in some of these battles, enemies are going to be in hard to reach places. Like, they're going to be up on this, this platform shooting down at you. And they're annoying as all heck. And in order to get to him, you got to climb up some ladder on the other end of the map. And so you got to climb up the ladder and then run across the buildings just to get to him. Or you could just have her shoot him. And that's where she comes in. She can snipe those people who are standing in those towers. That's really hard for your melee guys to get to. So, anyways, we shall move on. Oh, and then this gives her momentum of 6. An additional 3 momentum for every enemy that's in a 5-cell radius around her, or was hit by her this turn. And if she hits a demon or a cultist, the additional amount of momentum doubles. So, very cool. The momentum, just as a reminder, is how you get that special power. And next time we're in battle, remind me,
I always have
as if any of you have an ability to talk to me right now. And here's the other thing. Never avoid this. Always grab those. So this was confusing at first, but bear with me. So we have a well-maintained stub revolver, and you can see with the plus sign that it's better than the stub revolver. And it is. I mean, it shows 7 to 12 damage. It's slightly better than the one I have. So we definitely want this. And then these 3 things, like, I was really worried about, okay, what's a Vatmail cake and what's a Void Sweat L? It does not matter. You don't have to pay attention to the title. This is all flavor, which is very cool flavor, but it's just flavor. Just pay attention to the bottom where it says 10% of provisions cargo. That's all that matters. It's a provision, and it's 10% of it. And then this here is also a provision. It's 15%. So the two together is going to be 25% of a provisions cargo. And then this one is a fuel cargo. So we're going to get additional items that are just going into our cargo thing. So I'm going to go ahead and collect all. And it's telling me I gained a more efficient weapon, which is true. I have this little stub revolver, and now I'm going to replace it with the maintain one. And then my stub revolver, I'm going to send it to the cargo. And so now we have all that there. If we get into our cargo management, you can see our percentages. And then you can break it down that way as well. But this is a much nicer, more condensed list. So yeah, I know you're getting the gist of it, but this, by the way, it took me many hours to figure out what was happening by sending something to cargo versus not. So it makes total sense when someone explains it to you. And the game does not explain it to you. At least not as well as I would have liked. I didn't even check. Was there somebody else that we could have looted back here? Like that guy back there? I bet we could have. I bet we could have looted him. That's alright. So these are devices that if you fail a check, they're going to help you pass that check. And then here you can see more provisions. heretic trophies, and a uniform kit. Again, it's all cargo. Just different types of cargo. And I'm going to save it here, and we'll catch you on the other side.